Welcome back to this edition of Ronn Easton's Tell It Like It Is. As I told you in the previous episode, we were going to be doing all kinds of different things, not just concentrating on politics, but we have our eye on that as well. But this portion, this section right here, this is for the guys. Because too many guys have kind of neglected the kitchen, they've neglected their wives, and they don't even bother to cook anymore. But what I'm going to do is give you a recipe which is simple as all hell to follow, and it's one outrageous hors d'oeuvre. It's a stuffed mushroom. So Andy, if you can just pan on down here, what you've got are these standard, or actually the giant stuffing mushrooms. That's about a 14-ounce package. And you take the paper towel, brush all the dirt out, obviously pop the stems out, and that way you have the cavity there. So then to that, we're going to add a few things. Right here on my cutting board, I've got fresh rosemary. So we're just going to kind of chop this up into a fine little mixture and throw that in the bowl. This is so much fun. I love to cook. My bride isn't real happy because I kind of commandeered her kitchen, but she's gracious enough to kind of keep the dog in tow while we do this. Love you, honey. Yeah. So that's just kind of a rough chop. Throw that into your bowl, which I'll put right there. Next thing, we got green onions. I like to kind of just take off that first edge and even them up. And we're going to chop a bunch of green onions. Probably 3 or 4 tablespoonfuls, and dump that into our bowl, just like that. All right, some of this is off camera. We're not professionals here. This is our first time doing this. So if you don't like what you don't see, I don't care. Next, we're going to add 8 ounces of cream cheese. Put that in the bowl. And then the coup de grace. This is the real bacon pieces. Some people use bits, but I like it a little bit more substantial, so I use the pieces. And we're going to put, put all of it in there, except for the little pack. Then, the best part about it is there's a 5-cheese blend. They call it Italian cheese. So what we'll do is take, about a half a cup, or about that much, and toss it in the bowl. All right, while we're doing this, I'm going to move this over to the front here where you can see what's going on. And then we're just going to mix all of this together until it's nice and incorporated. This is one outrageous recipe. I've never had anybody that didn't like it, except those who aren't too crazy about mushrooms. So if you don't like mushrooms, this is not the dish for you. But if you like mushrooms, bacon, and fresh herbs, oh God, this is going to knock you out. And it doesn't make any difference what time of year, what season. This kind of goes well at any time. So now that that's incorporated, a little bit more. There we go. What I do now is start to stuff my mushrooms. So I grab a little bit, stick it in there, and stuff my mushrooms. Now when you do this, use a fork and leave some ridges on top. Because what happens is, for the next step, you'll find out why those ridges are extremely important. So we're just going to kind of continue to stuff our mushrooms here. Hope everybody's kind of healthy. You know, the world is different. And we have to kind of find our joy where we can. And for me, I find joy in food, especially good food. But then we got restaurants that are closed now, and you can't really go out. And the places that have outdoor seating, especially here in Minnesota, won't be long before they have to shut down. So there's going to be a whole new group of people that are hurting out there. So kind of keep those in mind, would you please? Because they need your help. Also, first responders, they have been through a lot. They've seen a lot. And they are going to need continuous psychiatric help. Believe me on this. The things that they have seen and the people that they have had to watch die when relatives couldn't be there, I wouldn't wish that upon anybody. So what I'm going to do is continue to stuff these mushrooms, and then I'm going to put them under the broiler. So what we're going to do is pause this right now, and through the magic of television, you will see the finished product. We are back. Now, one thing I neglected to tell you, before you stick those mushrooms under the broiler, you might want to melt a stick of butter and just pour it over each one. Remember when I said leave the ridges in the top of the mushrooms, because that kind of holds that butter and it helps the top to brown a little bit. So right now, what I'm going to do is get these out of the oven. Oh, and you're going to love this. Just wait 1 minute. Oh my God, does that smell good? Does that look good? Oh, look at that, would you? Check that out. What you do is you put it under the broiler until that cream cheese starts to brown. And I mean, it's amazing. Now, what you might want to, you could even think about pouring the butter on maybe half hour before and give that butter a chance to soften that cap up a little bit. But let me just cut into this for you. Look at that. Oh my God. Woo-hoo-hoo. Simple, simple. 8 ounces of cream cheese, 14 ounces of mushrooms, and the bacon pieces, the green onions, and the 5 blend cheese. And okay, look up straight. Yeah, I'm supposed to look straight up. And he's throwing these signals. I'm looking at him trying to look at you. Sorry about that. But you get the idea. Go back in this podcast and you will get all of the ingredients. Thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy it. Peace.